Yo, 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 what it do, yo? Team K here, back for part 6 of my Blu-ray collection. No rambling this time, we're gonna get right into it. So the first movie for today is First Blood. This is the first Rambo movie. Um, One of my favorite 80s movies of all time. I love this movie right here. One of my favorite Stallone films. Um, yeah, this is a great movie about a war veteran who comes back from the Vietnam War and who's basically, ridiculed and by the police and chased out of this village. You know what I'm saying? Just because he's a war veteran, and he looks a certain way, even though he only wanted to go to this little town or whatever just to visit his old friend of his. Then he gets chased by the police and everything for no reason whatsoever. And yeah, it's a very important film. It shows how, war veterans were treated at that time, how inhumane and like animals they were treated. And yeah, man, definitely very important piece, not just to Sylvester Stallone's whole filmography, but also just as a piece that shows how things used to be for Vietnam War veterans, you know what I'm saying? Because they were really treated like shit, man, when they came back, you know what I mean? All I'm gonna say is dead presidents, because that movie also shows how terribly war veterans were treated when they came back, you know what I mean? The next movie, Ray, musical biopic, directed by Taylor Hackford, who did one of my favorite movies of all time, Blood In, Blood Out. And 10 years later, he did this, another one of my all-time favorites. Musical biopic about Ray Charles. And Ray Charles is one of my favorite musicians of all time. I love that guy. Had so many great songs, so many hits. And yeah, and I really love this musical biopic. Actually, before I even became a Ray Charles fan, I had this movie on DVD, and this movie actually made me a Ray Charles fan. And I think the movie is brilliant, just for Jamie Foxx's performance alone. I mean, Jamie Foxx really, really perfectly embodied Ray Charles, and he did such a stellar job. I mean, watching this guy, you almost forget that you are watching Jamie Foxx playing Ray. You know what I'm saying? You just think you're watching Ray Charles watching this film, and he did such a phenomenal job. Love this fucking movie. Definitely go and watch this. Ray, amazing film. Then we got Re-Animator, a movie that I have seen a couple of times. I don't remember too much of it. It's like a horror comedy or something, but definitely need to watch it again. Then we got Revenge of the Warrior, or Tom Yum Gung, as it's known for in the original title. Yeah, Revenge of the Warrior, fucking awesome film, great action flick, starring Tony Jaa, the Muay Thai movie legend. It's basically along the lines of Ong Bak, just the action is a little bit bigger, fighting is a little bit better. This movie has one scene in there that's really amazing. It's like a one take 7-minute action scene with no cuts, no nothing. Just the camera follows Tony Jaa as he demolishes his enemies and tears shit up, and it's really fucking awesome, bro. Revenge of the Warrior, amazing film, great action film. Then we got another classic 80s film right here, Robocop. Paul Verhoeven film. Paul Verhoeven, he has done a lot of great movies during his lifetime. Another one that's along the lines of Robocop is Total Recall, another one of my favorites. And this one right here also, freaking A, man. I love this movie right here. Very social critical. You know, just like a lot of Paul Verhoeven films. You know, he talks about a lot of social issues in this film, but still packages that message in a way where it doesn't come off as preachy or whatever. You know, he still makes his movies very much enjoyable, but he still puts this little bit of substance in there, you know, just to make his movies a lot more worthwhile and not as superficial as they may first appear, you know. I love Robocop. Amazing film. Then we got Schwarzenegger, another 80s action film with a social message in it. And this was pretty much Battle Royale before Battle Royale. I fucking love that movie. Running Man is so much fun. You know what I mean? Just for Arnold Schwarzenegger alone, man. I just love that guy, man. Especially back in the days. Watching his movies was fun as a motherfucker, bro. It was just so much fun. You know, you can never go wrong with old Arnie movies, man. They're just great as fuck, man. So much fun to watch. And then we got, rest in peace, Paul Walker, man. Running Scared. Yo, that movie is some heavy shit, bro. This is one of the darkest thrillers that you will ever watch. It's kind of like a B movie. But bro, this one is fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Like, really fucked up. Some of the shit that they show in this film and some of the characters that they have in there, bruh, it just changes your view of our society, man, because you never know how many maniacs you walk past by in your life, man. You know what I mean? And Running Scared, bro, is such a heavy movie, man. I just refer to a married couple in this film. If you watch this one, you know what I'm talking about, man. Sick and twisted film, bro, but it's a great movie. It's a great movie, though, man. Like, I cannot lie. Paul Walker, I never imagined that he would play in a movie like this. A super dark and gritty thriller movie. But he did a great job in this one. So, yeah, man. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace, Paul Walker. Then we got a trilogy. This is the Rurouni Kenshin trilogy. Yeah, it's basically about a samurai that does not kill. You know, the special thing about Rurouni Kenshin is that he has like a reversed blade where the sharp side is facing, I think, inwards instead of outwards. And really love these movies, especially the second one, because it has the most memorable villain of the trilogy. You know, I think the second one is called the Kyoto Inferno. Just insane, bro. You know what I mean? Just insane. Watch the whole trilogy. It's definitely a great watch. Especially me, I still want to see the prequel that came out as a special on Netflix. I still need to watch that, man. But the trilogy, this shit right here, man, dope as a motherfucker. I love these movies, man. Then we got the classic mobster movie, Scarface, with Al Pacino as Tony Montana. And yeah, man, what else is there to say, man? Scarface, everybody knows about Scarface. You know, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's probably my top 5. A movie that, when it first came out, did not get a lot of love. Actually, it did not fare well with the critics. You know, the critics demolished it. They really criticized it heavily for being overly brutal and I guess way too flashy and all that shit, and way too rambunctious and stuff like that, man. But for me personally, I think the movie is an absolute classic, all-time classic. Just for Pacino's performance alone, man. I mean, Pacino as Tony Montana, bro, he just killed that shit, man. He was so good playing this Cuban, and this Cuban refugee, bro, is just incredible, man. I love this fucking film right here, man. I could watch it all the time, all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? That's actually one of my most watched movies next to Boys in the Hood. awesome fucking movie, man. Scarface, starring Al Pacino. And yeah, next up we got a thriller right here, The Silence of the Lambs. Here it says it, The Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, thriller movie, one of the greatest movies of all time. Of course, mostly because of Anthony Hopkins, who plays Hannibal Lecter, who doesn't get that much screen time in the movie. It's like only 11, 12, 13 minutes of screen time, but his performance is so captivating that he carries the whole movie easily, you know what I'm saying? But of course, you know, Jodie Foster as Clarice Sterling, she's also great in that movie. Not to take anything away from her, man, they're all great in this film. This is definitely a classic, definitely worth watching if you ask me. It's one of the best thrillers ever made. Then we got Scream, Wes Craven film. Scream, you know, was, I think, his first movie after he ended the Nightmare on Elm Street series, because he already started doing that meta thing with the seventh Nightmare movie called A New Nightmare or something like that, where he basically brings Freddy Krueger into our world, you know what I'm saying, and does all this crazy stuff. But he didn't really perfect it with that movie, you know, that whole meta thing. He perfected it with Scream. And Scream is really amazing, which takes, you know, all these different horror tropes, it plays with it, you know, and just does something completely new with it, especially for that time, you know. And I think it's a brilliant movie, brilliant horror movie film, and definitely amazing to watch just for Ghostface alone. And then you also got Dewey and all these guys, you know. Love that movie, man. So good. Then we got another Hood film, Set It Off. Director's cut also. This is a F. Gary Gray film. It's the one that he did after the classic Hood movie comedy Friday. And this one is starring our beloved Jada Pinkett, Queen Latifah, Vivica Fox, and Kimberly Elise. And yeah, man, this movie is also great. It's basically about 4 women, you know, just cleaning ladies who are tired of their job, you know. Plus this girl, you know, she gets her child taken away by CPS because of something that happened at work, because she took her kid to work. And so basically they decided to rob banks, you know, just to get enough money back so she can get her child back. And yeah, man, it's a great fucking movie. Really dope performances. Love this film. Really nice shit, man. I love Set It Off, man. It's such a good movie, man. Very underrated. Nobody really talks about it, but you can hear it from me, man. That movie is dope as fuck, man. Then we got a spoof movie, Shaun of the Dead. Of course, this one being the title alone being a play on, you know, George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead and the remake Dawn of the Dead, which ironically came out the same year as Shaun of the Dead dropped. Spoof movie, well done, bro. You know what I'm saying? Spoof movies are another genre in films which I have a hard time with, because a lot of them suck, especially the ones that came out around that time frame. I just refer to epic movie, date movies, superhero movies, like the movie movies, if you know what I mean. Those spoof movies that came out around this time, they were just garbage as motherfucker. But Shaun of the Dead was amazing. I love this fucking movie right here. British comedy, you know, just fun as hell, man. You know what I mean? Fun as hell, bro. These movies are just great to watch. And such a faithful parody of zombie films. I mean, these are really fans doing it for the fans. You know what I'm saying? Love this fucking film, bro. This shit is dope as fuck. The whole Cornetto trilogy is just great. You know, with Hot Fuzz and The World's End. You know, dope shit, dope shit. Love it. Next up, we got one of my all-time favorites, samurai film, and a movie that basically was sampled for Jesus the Liquid Swords. You know, if you remember the way the album started, it started off with this kid narrating, and it comes from the intro of this movie, man. Shogun Assassin. Amazing flick, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it's basically how should I call it, like a new interpretation of the Lone Wolf and Cub story, because this is basically the first two Lone Wolf and Cub films re-edited, remade in a way, or re-edited, redubbed and shit, you know, and you know they built a whole new story around these two movies and basically made this, you know. And yeah, if you ask me, Lone Wolf and Cub, the series that this came from, is worth watching way more than Shogun Assassin. However, these movies only have subtitles in Japanese language, so if you don't want to watch these movies with English subtitles, then the best way to go is this. You know what I mean? Still, you have the gruesome violence in there. You know, you have these a lot of this violence in there that reminds you of Quentin Tarantino, because a lot of the stuff, the blood and the, stuff that you see here, you know, this was very obvious inspiration for Quentin Tarantino to do what he did during the Kill Bill movies and stuff. Really, really cool shit, man. You know, Shogun Assassin will always be one of my favorites, but like I said, if you ask me, I would rather go for the Lone Wolf and Cub movies and watch those instead of this, if you want to have a deeper, richer story and lore, you know what I mean? But make no mistake, this is still classic just for the dubbing, the English dubbing alone. So dope. Then we got a David Fincher film, thriller movie, Seven. It's basically about this killer who goes out on a killing spree and kills 7 people who committed the 7 deadly sins. And yeah, this movie is once again one of those really fucked up movies, you know what I'm saying? Just, bro, the way David Fincher directed this, I mean, I think before he did this, he made Alien 3, which was not a very well received movie. And then he made this one, 7, and delivered one of the all-time classics in horror movie cinema. 7 is just incredible, yo. One of my all-time favorite movies. Watched it like twice in my life, but man, this one left a lasting impression, bro. This is just heavy stuff, bro. Really heavy and fucked up as hell, man. Then we got a comic book movie, bro, this movie is so dope. Sin City. Robert Rodriguez behind the camera, based on the Frank Miller comic. Also, it was co-directed by Quentin Tarantino. He did one scene in here. Sin City, bro. I love Sin City, bro. This is just a comic book movie that is done to perfection. You know what I mean? This is no Marvel or DC stuff. This is its own thing. And for the year it came out in 2004, this was definitely something very unique and special. I mean, this predates the movie 300, which, you know, definitely nailed that comic book aesthetic. But this is the first movie of its kind where you really feel like you are watching a comic book movie come to life, because there is nothing realistic about this film. You know what I'm saying? It's a black and white movies with these red accents in there, you know, and it's just amazing, bro. Like, dude, go out and watch Sin City, man. This movie is one of the best comic book movies you'll ever watch. And once again, there's no DC or Marvel type stuff. This is just super violent, heavily gruesome, you know. And if you like that shit, you will like that movie. Then we got Sin City 2, A Dame to Kill For. I have to get back to this one. It's been like, I don't know, 7-8 years since I watched this. It's been a long time. Long time since I watched this one. Almost 10 years, I think. So I cannot speak on that one. I don't know. Moving on, we got one of my childhood favorite films, Space Jam. Of course, with the Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan playing himself in this film. And Space Jam is just great. I really love these films. This one basically combined my two favorite things back in those days, which was cartoons and basketball. Still two of my favorite things today, but even more so back in the days, you know what I mean? And then, you know, you pair up Looney Tunes with Michael. Bro, this movie is just dope as fuck, man. Very short movie, very easily digestible, but it's just a fun ride, man, from top to bottom. Such a fun movie. Love it. Space Jam. Childhood favorite of mine, man. I'll never get tired of that movie, man. And unfortunately, they ruined the series with the sequel, man, because Space Jam 2. Don't get me started on Space Jam 2, man, with LeBron James, man. That movie was garbage. It was trash, bro. It was such a terrible movie, if you ask me. It was so bad. I cannot even put into words how bad Space Jam 2 was. You know, for me, I watched that movie. It was like 2 hours long, and I felt like I've wasted 2 hours of my life watching Space Jam 2. It was so inferior compared to the first one. It's not even funny, bro. Yeah, then we got an M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong movie. Yeah, this did a little Tarantino right there, man. M. Night Shyamalan movie, Split, which was the unanticipated but one of those sequels that came out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, this movie, you know, when it dropped, you know, nobody expected this movie to be a sequel to Unbreakable. But once, you know, the Bruce Willis's character was revealed, you know, then it was known that this was an actual sequel to Unbreakable. And for me, this movie, even though I'm not the biggest fan of James McAvoy, I gotta say, bro, this movie was fucking awesome, man. Really, really awesome. Really dark, gritty, menacing, totally unique. I've never seen a movie like this where one actor plays like 23 different personalities, and James McAvoy nailed that shit, man. He was psychotic in that movie, man. But it was so good, bro. Love this movie right here, man. Split is just great. Unfortunately, they ruined the series with Glass, because Glass, that third movie in that trilogy, was just that movie was horrible, man. It was so bad. But the first two films, Unbreakable and Split, will always be two very special movies, in my opinion. Just love these films, man. Then we got Straight Outta Compton. Once again, musical biopic. And this one, this one is once again not faithful at all. They made up a lot of shit for that movie, you know what I'm saying? Especially One scene that really stuck out for me was when Dr. Dre first met Tupac, and Tupac in that scene recorded Hail Mary. But of course, Tupac did not record Hail Mary, until after All Eyes on Me was recorded. So they got a lot of historical inaccuracies in there, man. Oh, bro, they really fucked up the whole thing. Which is weird considering that Ice Cube and Dr. Dre were heavily involved in the making of this film. And yet they made up a lot of shit, man. Basically, it's like with any big artist out there or any celebrity, what I'm saying, they have their little ego and they don't want to see, the whole truth. What I'm saying? They want to make themselves look like heroes, what I'm saying, and not as flawed human beings, which is part of the reasons why they became who they are, what I'm saying? Why do they fuck up their whole history, what I'm saying, just because they want to make themselves look good, what I'm saying? I don't understand it, what I'm saying? But regardless, putting that to the side, I still enjoyed Straight Outta Compton, bro. I thought that movie was really well done, what I mean? Especially the settings, the way the movie was shot and filmed. And the performances, man, the performances were great, Unfortunately, it's not like Ray levels of performances, but bro, they still delivered and put out a great movie. Definitely did NWA justice with the performances, but once again, those little historical inaccuracies, man, they really stick out if you really know the NWA history and everything surrounding it, But still, great movie, man. Very enjoyable, If you want to see the history of NWA in full motion in front of your eyes. Yeah, okay. The next one. This movie right here, bro. Evil Dead, bro. I don't know if it says here the original title. Oh yeah, here, The Evil Dead. This movie is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. All time. The Evil Dead, bro. This movie is just great. It's a little bit wacky at times. It's certainly not professionally made. It's a lot of amateurish stuff in there, but still, I fucking love that movie, man. Because Sam Raimi's genius already showed early on when he made this film. And Bruce Campbell as Ash, unbeatable, man. Legendary. Absolutely legendary. You know what I mean? One of my favorite horror movies of all time. Always will be. It will never get kicked off my favorites. It's just amazing, bro. The Evil Dead. And then, of course, I have The Evil Dead 2. And this is kind of a remake of the first one. Kind of, But here, they just definitely took a more slapsticky, funny approach to it. You know what I'm saying? The first movie was straight up horror. Like, don't get it wrong. This was straight up horror. Very serious. But Evil Dead 2, they took the whole basic idea of the Evil Dead 1. They ran with it. Remade the movie sort of and just made it a whole lot more fun. A lot of slapstick in there. This was a whole one-man show, bro. Like, the way Bruce Campbell stole the show in this film was just amazing. And this movie, it gave us so many classic, iconic lines like Groovy. Love that shit, man. And of course, they took it a little bit further with the special effects and everything. Just amazing, amazing, amazing film. One of my favorites of all time. The Evil Dead will always be one of my all-time favorites. I love that movie so much. So much. Then we got Taxi Driver, Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, which came out, I think, in the mid 70s. And once again, this is a movie that is very social critical, very political movie. And it basically talked about the state of New York in the 70s, because 70s New York was very brutal, man. You had a lot of pimps and prostitutes and a whole lot of violence in there. And, you know, once again, we're talking about Robert De Niro, who plays Travis Bickle, who is also a war veteran, you know, and is basically the polar opposite of what Sylvester Stallone was. He was not a polar opposite, but he was just like Sylvester Stallone, an introvert, you know, was not really out there like that, man. And but unlike, you know, unlike Rambo, you know, he was a little bit more. He started developing like a psychotic mindset about New York and shit. You know what I'm saying? How he hates the social circumstances and stuff, while Rambo was just all about living his life peacefully after the Vietnam War and shit. Still, man, I can talk about it the whole day. Just Taxi Driver is a fucking awesome film. You know what I'm saying? This is just a great film. Definitely not what you expect. This movie goes into pretty crazy directions, and it's a very, very dope classic film. Great character study, for sure. Then we got two movies right here. We got another Schwarzenegger, Terminator. Love that movie. This is just great, man. James Cameron, one of his earliest movies, and one of my all-time favorites. You know what I mean? It's just Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator is just legendary. Yeah, man, I love this movie right here, man. I mean, it's still has a little bit of amateurness and here and there, man. Has some special effects that they could have made a little bit better. But this is just still the humble beginnings of the Terminator series. And for what they did with that movie, amazing. This is still my favorite of the whole series. Love it to death, man. Terminator. And then we come to a movie that is a little bit divisive amongst Terminator fans, because some Terminator fans think that they kind of destroyed the series with this one already, because they basically turned Terminator to a good guy. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of people see it as, you know, as the makers betraying the original movie with that idea. And a lot of people don't really care about that. They just care about the spectacle, the action of it, which the action in this is just top notch, bro. Like, this is still one of the most well-made action films ever made. This is what I always consider an 80s action movie made in the 90s. This is just dope as fuck, man. I love that movie so much. The action and everything is just great A stuff. However, the Blu-ray for this is pretty much trash. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what is going on with James Cameron, bro, but the way they digitally remastered the picture quality for this is a crime, bro. I can't really say it any other way. It's a crime what they did with the restoration of the picture quality, because the 4K transfers for this are terrible. You know what I mean? What James Cameron wanted to do, he wanted to make this movie look more like a current film, very cleaned up, and just like any new movie coming out. But the problem is, man, you know, this movie was shot on film, and like every movie shot on film, especially at that time, you had film grain in there. You know what I'm saying? And film grain can be a disturbance to a lot of people's eyes, you know, especially people nowadays. They're not used to seeing film grain. But the problem is, if you shoot on film, the film grain is the thing where the information is stored. You know what I'm saying? All the little details and stuff like that are ingrained in the film grain. You know what I'm saying? And by them removing the film grain, the movie looks cleaner, all right, but all the detail is washed out. And if you watch the movie at times, it looks like you're watching wax figurines or something like that, man. Like the human characters in this film do not look human at all. And that's the problem that I have with this Blu-ray transfer, like this 4K transfer of Terminator 2. It is really a tale of two halves. It looks like it looks like a current movie, but at the same time it looks so artificial and so fake because they removed all of the detail and everything that made this movie, that makes the picture quality what it is, you know what I'm saying, for a movie of that period. You know, they should have treated it like the Alien anthology, you know what I'm saying, because Alien 1 looks incredible, you know what I'm saying, on Blu-ray. You know, and they really fucked it up with Terminator 2, man. I don't know what they did, but I don't know why they decided to go this route, but man, it just they really messed up the picture quality on that one. I'm very, very disappointed with this release, but it is what it is. Then we got There Will Be Blood. Paul Thomas Anderson movie. There Will Be Blood. I've only watched it once or twice 10 plus years ago, but man, this movie, even then when I first watched it, I was like, this has got to be one of the greatest movies of all time, because this shit is just, it's just insane, man. This is a movie all about greed, power, and politics in a way. You know what I'm saying? This is about a guy who stumbles upon an oil mine or something like that, and yeah, and there's a whole lot of craziness that ensues from that, man, because this is all about riches, you know what I'm saying, getting rich. Because once you gather land that is laying on top of an oil mine, bro, you are set for life. You know what I'm saying? This is the infinite money glitch that people always talk about. And, you know, this is a perfect example for that. How shit like that can eat you alive, man. How shit like that can really destroy your psyche and all that stuff, man. There Will Be Blood is a fucking amazing film. Especially because of Daniel Day-Lewis, bro. This guy is one of the most underrated actors ever. One of the best method actors you will ever watch acting, you know. This movie, fucking amen. I love There Will Be Blood. I need to watch this one again soon, you know what I mean, because that movie is brilliant. Just brilliant, bro. And then the last movie for today, another horror movie classic, John Carpenter's The Thing. Yeah, it came out sometime in the mid-80s. And I'm a big John Carpenter fan, man. I love his movies. Almost all of them. You know what I mean? And The Thing is another one that is just amazing body horror at its finest. You know, it's about it takes place, I think, in like a snowy environment. I don't remember too much from this movie, but it's basically, you know, I think about a group of scavengers, you know, who settled down in a place that was abandoned, and then there's this alien that, you know, that kills them one by one, you know, who infests their bodies, and then this whole body horror thing starts, and their bodies get demolished and all that shit, man. I mean, this movie is crazy. You know, even then, I still remember, I have all of these very gruesome body horror scenes in my head, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they will stick in your mind for a long time, you know. And this movie, it's just a shit, man. And once again, this is one of those films that takes place in these like snowy environments. And any movie that does that, you know, you already got me. You know what I'm saying? Because I love movies like that, man. But anyway, so that was it. That was my Blu-ray collection part 6. Let me know what you think. Did you like the movies that I showed? What is your favorite out of all of these? And yeah, till next time, keep it cool, guys. Take care and see you in the next one.